Oh, good morning, Longview family. I'm coming to you. This is Blake, coming to you live from my office. We just wanted to, the staff, we were talking in our staff meetings about our grounded study. And we hope that you got one of these grounded books, these great grounded books that James Walker and Hannah put together. If you haven't got one, be sure and get one Sunday morning at the Welcome Center out there. The Connect Center. Connect Center is what we're calling it. But we were talking in our staff meeting about different things God is showing us during our grounded studies. And we thought we would just come maybe once a week and just share with you what God's showing us in our God time. And I will start by saying I'm probably the worst on the staff, probably, about being consistent in my God time. But I'm trying. This study is really helping me, and I'm trying to be more and more consistent. And it's important that if you miss a day, you don't just get all this feeling of condemnation and thinking, oh, I'm gonna, have to go back and read, 10 chapters back. What we would encourage you to do is if you miss a day or two or even a week, jump in right where we are. Whit preaches on Wednesday nights what God is showing him during his God time and whatever is on the schedule for the grounded study. So jump in right where we are. We're at Exodus chapter 2 and chapter 3 today. And I just wanted to just share with you some things God has shown me in that passage. It's a great passage talking about Moses and how God's plan was just to redeem the children of Israel and bring them back out of bondage. And he was going to do it through Moses, and how God appeared to Moses in the burning bush in chapter 3, saying, I am the great I am, and giving him instructions. So there's a whole lot of verses in these two chapters that I could probably pick from. But what really stood out to me was chapter 2 and verse 23, really two verses, 23 and 24. And I'll read it to you. It says this. During those many days, the king of Egypt died, and the people of Israel groaned because of their slavery and cried out for help. Their cry for rescue from slavery came up to God, and God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And God saw the people of Israel, and God knew. Those verses just really stood out to me because sometimes in my life, and I'm sure you in your life, you wonder, does God hear me when I'm struggling, when I'm praying to him about something, maybe something that is an ongoing sickness or something like that, or maybe a burden that you have for a family member, maybe a lost family member. You might wonder, does God really hear me? And in this passage of scripture, it reminds us that God heard the groanings of the children of Israel. He heard. It's important for me to know when I pray that God hears me. Also, another word that stood out to me was that he remembered. It says he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. Sometimes I can forget God's promises to me. I can get into a panic or a time of worry or a time in the flesh, and I just forget God's promises to me, and I forget to recall those promises. But this passage tells us that God is the one who remembers. He never forgets his promise to his children. He heard, he remembered, and he saw. It says God saw the people of Israel. He saw the terrible things they were going through, the bondage that they were in to the Egyptians, and the slavery that they were in. And sometimes we get in bondage and we get in slavery, and God sees, and he wants to come to our rescue, and he wants to help. He heard, he remembered, he saw, and it says God knew. God knew. That's a great comfort to me to know that God hears me, he remembers, but he knows exactly where I'm at in my life. He knows the struggles that I'm going through. He knows the struggles that I can't share with anybody else but him. and He understands. And that passage of Scripture is just a great encouragement to me. Under the apply part, I really want to apply the passage that I just read in the fact that I'm going to just try to rest. I'm going to try to rest in the fact that He sees me, He hears me, He remembers me, and I'm going to just try to remember that God's in control. He's in control, and my response is I'm going to try to not fret and to not struggle with worry, but know that God's promises are true to me and that He remembers His promises to me, even though I can forget sometimes. But I would just wanted to encourage you with what God showed me. Sometimes God will show you really big things. Sometimes He'll show you things that are maybe just kind of seem small to you. But it's important for us, no matter if God shows us something big or something little, it's important for us to just be consistent. Just be consistent. Put ourselves in a position where we can hear God. And when I do that, my day goes better. I feel like I'm hearing from God. We all have different ways of doing it. I'll wake up really early in the morning, sometimes 4:30 in the morning, and I'll read this passage of Scripture. And then after I read it, I'll go to the gym and I'll work out. And while I'm working out, I can be thinking about that passage of Scripture. And then I can go home, take a shower, and even in the shower, be thinking about what God said to me during my Scripture reading. And then when I get to the office, I take out my grounded book, and I'll record those things, and I'll use that HEAR, the hear outline, just to record those simple things that God showed me. That's the way I do it. It may work for you a different way. Evenings might be better for you. It may be better for you just to do it all at one time, but I just kind of segment my God time. That I make it just kind of last the whole morning instead of just 30 minutes in the morning. But anyway, I pray that God uses that to encourage you. And if you hadn't gone to your app store and downloaded the Longview Heights app, do that, because you can go to your app and you can see right where we are in the grounded reading. So I hope you have a wonderful day. God bless you.